One thing that we really pride ourselves on is our good stewardship of public dollars, and we've managed to continue that.
Plainsboro has really focused a lot of attention on maintaining a strong financial position and strong financial management practices, and it's paid dividends. Today, Plainsboro is one of the few communities in the state with a AAA bond rating. And that's reflective, I think, of the fact that our rating agencies see Plainsboro as a well-managed community, as well as a number of other financial factors they consider in coming up with that rating. In addition, I think it pays dividends from a standpoint that we're able to maintain relative stability in our tax rate. That's important to the residents.
That very excellent bond rating also allows us to obtain funds for special projects, including our library, including our recreation center, where we get substantially reduced interest rates, which in the long run will mean lower taxes for the residents while we're still able to provide new services and new facilities.
I say that Plainsboro is a poster child for economic growth in difficult times. The last several years, we've had great economic growth in Plainsboro, and this past year has been an example of that.
We found that University Medical Center of Princeton at Plainsboro has actually been a source of an enormous amount of new development and brought with it a substantial amount of medical-related services that we're extremely happy to have moving into our area.
We've had several medical office buildings that have come before the planning board just recently. In fact, just last week, one a 43,000 square foot facility and another a 93,000 square foot facility. When the hospital came before the township and wanted to relocate here, we did an economic impact study. And one of the things that we saw in that study was that there would be a tremendous economic positive effect for the region and Plainsboro. We also have had Sandoz that came in and occupied the old Novo Nordisk building, which Novo Nordisk had moved to the old Merrill Lynch facility. So there's a lot of positive economic development going on for the township. We anticipate this to continue. Also at the Princeton Forrestal Center, that is another retail facility that has struggled since its inception. It was more of a California type design that had a problem working in the cold weather. Well, recently the new ownership came in and got approval for a residential component, roughly about 394 residential units, and about 50 of those were affordable housing.
We actually have an approved proposal before us, before our planning board, and we're going to be seeing that development take place.
So we'll see a change in the type of retails there once the residential component is built and occupied.
We think it's something that will serve the interests of good planning, but also serve the interest of good business in Plainsboro Township. We put in place a master plan, and the elements of that master plan, the important elements of that master plan, was a diversity of housing opportunities, was a strong focus on preservation of land, and also a good economic base in Plainsboro.
I'm proud of that Plainsboro has more than 51% open space, and this policy is continued by our township committee for many years. And though we are encouraging development, but it should be a planned growth.
We pride ourselves on being a very environmentally sensitive community. We've recently attained a bronze level certification with Sustainable Jersey, which we're very excited about. We've been designated a Tree City USA for a number of years now. I don't remember the exact number of years.
As I said, it's a three-legged stool. Good housing opportunities for folks, good economic base, and a good preservation plan, which we've adhered to. A few years ago, we made a decision to build a new library. And there's been a lot of benefits to that. We have a wonderful library facility in town which serves as a centerpiece for Plainsboro Township. But in addition, it freed up the old library. And today we have a wonderful recreation center. We're able to secure some funding from the county to convert that library into a recreational and cultural facility.
It's a big facility. It has big assembly room. We can accommodate about 300 people, and also we have smaller conference room, we have computer training room, we have exercise room. So over the years, we are trying to encourage the participants of the township people.
It has provided our seniors with a regular meeting place, and it provides us with an unusual area for staged events, for concerts, for cultural activities, which provide us with a chance to celebrate the diversity of our community and for people to bring to others within the community information about their heritage, their background, and the kinds of things which have made Plainsboro a wonderful place to live, work, and go to school.
The rec center has become a real center of the community. We've put a lot of time and effort into programs in the rec center. So very recently we had the Martin Luther King Jr. Volunteer Awards, which, despite the horrendous weather, was attended by probably 200 people and was a really lovely event. Dedicated to Dr. King's life and also honoring our volunteers in the community, which is part of what makes Plainsboro such a great community, is the level of volunteerism among our residents. So that was a lovely event.
In 2014, we were able to secure the relationship and support from the township various groups, like business community, like community organizations, say Princeton Alliance Church, Queenship of Mary Church, then banks like PNC, First Constitutional Bank, and community organization like Human Resource Council. So with all these activities last year, I think it was a successful year, and we would like to continue those in 2015. And in 2015, our main objective is to introduce a new program. It's called Youth Advisory Council. With this organization, with this body, we'd like to reach teenage population in the community. And I hope it will be also a successful one.
The Wyckoff House is an 1850s farmhouse here in the community with a lot of history to it, a lot of family history as well as other history. And in the past, it's kind of been a centerpiece for historic preservation, preserving Plainsboro's history. And it's fell into some disrepair, and also the organization who was running it has had some issues and had to disband. So we're looking to do two things. We're looking to restore the house, basically, and also to provide a organizational structure for the preservation of Plainsboro's history.
All right, the preservation plan initially right now is to stabilize the building, to make sure it's watertight, to preserve it so there's no additional decay of the building. We've taken a look at it, we've hired some architects, they're going to develop a preservation plan now to preserve the building, and then for this year, we're going to present several scenarios to the Township Committee for full development and restoration of the building.
Now we have a lot of other work to do, and that's to put together some type of structure for the actual preservation of Plainsboro's history, which is very important to us.
Under the very good leadership of Chief Guy Armour and his very excellent staff of senior officers and a wonderful group of patrol officers, we've been able to bring to Plainsboro one of the safest communities in the area.
We were an aging police force just a couple of years ago, and Chief Guy Moore came on, take over as chief, and overnight it seems like we became from an aging police force to a very young police force. So he saw some challenges in bringing these young officers up to speed and the expectations that the township had for them and Guy had for them. And he did an excellent job in that transition, and we're very happy with our police force.
One of the things that people may have noticed in the past year was that we've successfully, with a great deal of negotiating with the Department of Transportation, finally been able to bring the speed limits throughout the village area in our residential areas down to 25 miles per hour. This has been something that we've been trying to do for many years, and because of certain regulations at the state level, have been unable to successfully accomplish. But we're proud to say that this is something which has been possible, and along with that, a reduction in the numbers of accidents that have been seen throughout the past year, some 19% reduction in accidents.
One thing that stands out to me is sort of the absence of drama surrounding the police force. In some ways, the absence of these negatives shows really how professional the force is and how well they're doing.
One of the goals of the police department has been to make them user-friendly so that people feel that the police department and the people of Plainsboro work together as a single unit for a common goal. Plainsboro was one of the first police departments in the state to implement in-car video cameras a number of years ago, and part of the plans for the near future will also be to include body cameras that will be incorporated, which have become a great issue of discussion in today's climate in the United States, where community policing becomes so important, and having records for both protecting the public and the police department.
We think we have one of the best police forces in the region, and we think they're doing a great job for Plainsboro Township.
Last year was just a horrifying year in terms of snow and ice, and the fact that the Public Works Department was able to do such a good job last year with salting and with plowing really shows the hard work and the professionalism of that department.
Plainsboro is becoming an older community now. When I first moved here 27 years ago, it was kind of a young community. Now it's aging a little bit, and the infrastructure is aging. So several years ago, we instituted a master plan for road repairs and replacements.
We've put in place a long-term plan, a program plan to maintain our road systems in Plainsboro. And each year we have basically a plan to look at as we go forth and to figure out what we're going to do as far as road maintenance is concerned. It's done in a program way, and we're delighted that it's worked well for us. We think our road systems are in relatively good shape, and we continue to adhere to a plan that will keep them in good shape. When it comes to parks, I think there's been a renewed emphasis on some of our parks this past year, particularly in the maintenance of the existing parks, but also we're talking about some expansion of facilities in Plainsboro Township.
One of the prominent needs that we've seen in the last couple of years is the need for a cricket field. We've located one in the old Plainsboro Park. It was an old baseball field that's no longer being used. The problem with cricket fields are they're much larger than baseball fields. So to convert a baseball field to a cricket field became a challenge. But we did find one in the old Plainsboro Park that had additional land next to it. So we're designing that now. It's going to be completed shortly, sometime later this year. It's also going to have its own irrigation system because we expect some significant use out of that cricket field. So we want to make sure we have the proper facilities in, that the cricket field stays up to the standards that we would like for the residents to enjoy that field with.
This past year, we've had a lot of renovations and improvements in our parks. Replacing basketball courts, replacing broken benches, replacing broken playground equipment, making the parks more ADA, more Americans with Disabilities Act compliant. And that's something that we're going to continue into 2015, where we've budgeted even a little bit more money for renovation and upgrading of our parks facilities. It's something that the Township Committee pays a lot of attention to, that I pay a lot of attention to, and we've budgeted sufficiently to make our parks among the best in Middlesex County.
I always use a term, small is beautiful.
One thing we like to say on the Township Committee is that good communities don't just happen, right? That it takes a lot of planning and involvement by the Township Committee and by the members of the Plainsboro staff, by our volunteers, and it's this coalition of people that really care about the community and plan it in such a way that it's just a lovely community in which to live, with a great school district as well, which obviously is another important reason why people move here.
It doesn't happen without the people that work for the township, the staff. We have, I think, one of the best staffs working for Plainsboro Township in the area, certainly. I'm very proud of them. They do a wonderful job. They're energetic, enthusiastic, and they deliver.
I believe Plainsboro is a tremendous community, and it's a great place to live, work, and raise your family. I was fortunate to raise 5 children here. I had 5 children go through the school system. My wife and I always kid around. We were in high school south for 17 straight years. So we've seen a lot of changes in Plainsboro. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise your children, and it's becoming a great place to work with all of the corporate facilities we have there. So we feel we have the entire package.
I'm particularly proud of the fact that as I spoke about Plainsboro's diversity, and it's truly a diverse community, but it's a community that gets along. I mean, there's not problems in Plainsboro. We celebrate our diversity, and we have a population that respects one another and really works together to make this a community that's fun to live in and place to not only live, I'd say a great place to live and also a great place to work. So we're very proud of the community. There's a lot of natural things here as well that I can recommend Plainsboro for. One is our great park. We have a great park system. We have a wonderful open space preservation program. We have a great school district. So this is truly a wonderful community. I sound like a real estate agent, but it's truly a wonderful community to live and work in.